Hey, Broncos Country. I hate making videos like this, but we need to have a serious conversation about what unfolded in Baltimore. And let me tell you, after breaking down the game film 3 times, this one stings even more than it did live. Not only did we suffer one of the most humiliating losses in recent memory, but watching Lamar Jackson post a perfect passer rating against our supposedly elite secondary, well, that exposed some fundamental issues we need to address. I've been analyzing football for years, and I'll be the first to admit I was dead wrong about our defensive strategy against Lamar. That make him beat you through the air philosophy. It's time we bury it. The game has evolved, and so has Lamar Jackson. We witnessed a masterclass in quarterback play today. 17 of 22 completions, 321 yards passing. Let those numbers sink in. This wasn't just efficient, this was surgical. Let's break down what really happened schematically, because this is where it gets interesting. Coming into this game, Vance Joseph led the league in cover zero blitz calls. Our aggressive style was our identity. But today, we only blitzed on 29% of plays. Instead of letting Patrick Sutton and Mark Flowers do what they do best in man coverage, we sat back in zone. Against a quarterback who had missed 2 practices this week, with a new receiver. Think about that. The defensive film shows something even more concerning. Our edge containment, which had been stellar all season, completely broke down. We consistently lost gap integrity, giving Lamar clean pockets to step into. When we did bring pressure, our rush lanes were undisciplined. That's coaching. That's preparation. That's a fundamental departure from what made this defense special. Let me spotlight the exact moment this game unraveled. That sequence before halftime. We're down 17-10, and despite some struggles, we're in striking distance. Then boom, everything implodes. In less than 4 minutes of game time, we go from a 1-score game to being down 31-10. Breaking down that sequence is painful but necessary. Our coverage alignments were confused, our tackling angles were amateur, and our defensive line containment. Well, let's just say high school coaches across America are using that footage as an example of what not to do. The statistics tell a brutal story. Third down defense, we allowed 8 of 13 conversions. That's 61.5%, nearly double our season average. Total yards allowed, 407. But here's the kicker. 321 of those came through the air. Remember when we thought we could force Lamar to beat us with his arm? Be careful what you wish for. Now, let's talk about Bo Nix, because amid this defensive collapse, our rookie showed something special. Breaking down his tape from today, you see a quarterback who stayed poised under absolute chaos. When your first read is covered, your pocket is collapsing, and you're down by 3 scores, that's when character shows. Nix completed 67% of his passes under pressure. That's elite-level composure from a rookie. But here's the harsh reality about our offensive situation. We're asking Nix to make magic with limited weapons. Courtland Sutton balled out today, putting up 100-plus yards against Marlon Humphrey, one of the league's premier corners. But after that, the drop-off is steep. The Tim Patrick release is looking worse by the week. And let's address the Lil Jordan Humphrey situation. 2 consecutive opening drives in 2 weeks where he's directly contributed to turnovers. That's not sustainable for a team with playoff aspirations. Speaking of playoffs, let's crunch the numbers. Our odds dropped from 60% to 43% after this loss. The analytics aren't kind, but they're not fatal either. Looking at the AFC landscape, we're seeing unprecedented parity. 7 teams are within 1 game of each other for that final playoff spot. The path is still there, but the margin for error? Gone. Let's dig into some numbers that really tell the story of this collapse. Bo Nix finished 27 of 39 for 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that interception that wasn't his fault. Not bad on paper, but here's what's concerning. Our red zone efficiency plummeted to 33%, down from our season average of 58%. Third down, we converted just 4 of 13. That's 30.7%, nearly 10 points below our season average. The time of possession battle was brutal. The Ravens held the ball for over 36 minutes, and that's directly tied to our defensive struggles. Our defense faced 67 snaps today, and the fatigue showed in the second half. The missed tackles went up, the coverage got sloppier, and the pass rush lost its bite. Speaking of pass rush, let's talk pressure rates. Coming into this game, we were generating pressure on 32% of opposing quarterbacks' dropbacks. Today, a measly 18%. That's not just a bad day. That's a systematic failure. When we did bring pressure, our rush lanes were undisciplined. I counted 6 plays where we had clear shots at Lamar, but lost containment. The Ravens absolutely dissected our zone coverage. Their crossing routes consistently found the soft spots between our linebackers and safeties. On their second touchdown drive, they ran the same mesh concept 3 times, and we had no answer. That's coaching. That's preparation. That's the kind of thing that has to change before we face Mahomes and the Chiefs. Let's break down that Courtland Sutton performance, because it's even more impressive when you dig into the details. Against Humphrey, who came into this game allowing just a 52% completion rate, Sutton caught 7 of 9 targets for 103 yards. 2 of those catches came against perfect coverage. That's the kind of playmaking we need more of. Looking ahead to the Chiefs, we need to completely revamp our defensive approach. Mahomes might be having a down year by his standards, but he's still dangerous, especially when extending plays. The difference is, unlike Lamar, who killed us with quick strikes today, Mahomes thrives in chaos. Our containment has to be perfect. Our coverage has to hold up longer. Here's my proposal for the Chiefs game. Return to our defensive identity. No more passive zone coverage. No more conservative play calling. Blitz Mahomes. Make him uncomfortable. Yes, he'll make some plays. He's Patrick Mahomes. But playing scared is a guaranteed loss. Our corners are too talented to play soft coverage. The trade deadline looms, and this game exposed our needs. We need another offensive weapon. Whether it's David Njoku from the Browns, who might be sellers after today's loss, or exploring the T. Higgins possibility with Cincinnati, standing pat isn't an option. Bo Nix's development isn't just about this year. It's about building for the future when we're free from Russell Wilson's dead cap hit. The Chargers' win over Cleveland complicated things. They now hold sole possession of second place in the AFC West. But here's why I'm not panicking yet. Their remaining schedule is brutal. 4 of their last 6 games are against teams with winning records. Looking at the coaching decisions, this loss falls heavily on Vance Joseph and Sean Payton. That's not emotional fan talk. That's tactical analysis. Going for it on 4th down 4 times in the first half. That's aggressive, but when you combine it with conservative defensive play calling, that's philosophical contradiction. Championship teams have identity. Right now, we're still searching for ours. Tony Romo made an interesting point during the broadcast. This isn't the end for this Broncos team. And after breaking down the film, I agree. But here's the caveat. We need immediate changes. The defensive scheme needs to return to what worked. The offensive game plan needs to maximize our limited weapons. And most importantly, the coaching staff needs to show they can learn from this disaster. I've seen enough football to know one game doesn't define a season. The 2015 Broncos had their struggles before becoming champions. No, this isn't that team. Derek Wolfe is right about pumping those brakes. But this is a team capable of making the playoffs. The film shows talent. The statistics show potential. What we need now is execution. Next week against Kansas City will tell us everything about this team's character. It's not just about winning or losing, it's about identity. Show me a team that can bounce back from this kind of loss, and I'll show you a team worth believing in. The Chiefs game isn't just another divisional matchup. It's a referendum on who we are. Let's be clear, another performance like this, and we can stop talking playoffs. But that's not what I expected. What I expect is a team that's angry, focused, and ready to prove doubters wrong. The tactical adjustments are clear. More man coverage, more blitzing, more aggressive defensive play calling. On offense, quick passes, designed rollouts for Nix, and heavy doses of Sutton. The path to the playoffs still exists. The talent is still there. The question isn't about ability, it's about response. How do you bounce back from your worst defensive performance of the year? How do you regain confidence after being embarrassed on national television? That's what separates good teams from great ones. I still believe in this team's potential, not with blind faith, but with analytical understanding of what they're capable of when playing to their strengths. Next week will be the ultimate test. Sometimes you need to hit rock bottom before you can climb back up. Well, Broncos Country, consider this rock bottom. The only way forward is up. Keep believing, but more importantly, keep watching. This story isn't over yet. The next chapter gets written against Kansas City, and I've got a feeling it's going to be a lot different than what we saw today. Until then, stay strong, stay passionate, and as always, go Broncos.